Hi there, my name is Karen. I like to sew a lot of special occasion dresses for myself and my 2 young daughters, but recently I've been getting more into trying to create a wardrobe that I actually like, that I actually wear more than once or twice. So today we're going to be making a fitted scoop top with spaghetti straps, very form-fitting, not stretchy, and with a separating zipper in the back. Okay, so this is the fabric that I'm going to be working with, and I absolutely love it. And let me show you. This is the best thing ever. It is a crepe back satin viscose. I'm pretty sure that's what they said because I actually got this in Brazil. We were there for my birthday, and of course I had to go fabric shopping because that's really all I wanted to do. So I'm actually very upset with myself when it comes to this fabric because of this specific fabric. When I looked at it, I wasn't sure how I felt about it, and I didn't really have time to think about it because the store was closing. They closed the stores very early, and I arrived just as they were bringing stuff in. So they did allow me to shop, but it was very rushed, and I looked at it and it was red, it had some blue, and I was like, do I really like that? I don't usually like red stuff. However, the banana print really got me, and I wasn't sure. I didn't know what I was gonna do with it. I was like, you know what, let me just grab a meter, I'll make a top out of it. And now I want to make everything out of it, and that's it. I just have 1 meter, so a little over a yard. As we were leaving Brazil, I kept on seeing more of this banana print everywhere, and I was becoming more and more obsessed with it. So I became more and more upset with myself over just buying 1 meter. So let's get into it.
This is a self-drafted pattern because I have no dress form, so I'm forced to learn flat pattern making. This is a small scale bodice block I'll be showing you. I've spared you from the actual pattern drafting I had to go through. It was not pretty. I went through more than 7 toiles of this top. I honestly lost count, actually. So grab your basic bodice block and make sure you know what contouring bodice block is. Today, I'm just going to be showing you the basics of what I did in order to make this top, but let me know if you want me to make a video explaining what I do know about contouring. We're going to start with the front and draw out the bust. To get the size of your bust radius, take a tape measure and measure from the bust apex to your under bust line. So usually it's from your nip to where your underwire would hit. Take that number and use it as the radius to draw out your circle. And here I am just trying to make it darker so you can see. Decide how far you want your top to end. I wanted mine to end just below my belly button, so I took the rest of this off. From that point to the neckline, I did the 1/8 of an inch contour line at the center front. Now I'm just doing a random example hemline, so you can curve this however you'd like. Anything below that hemline will be cropped off. Next, I contoured around the waist and under the bust area. What you do to one side, you do to the other. I don't have any exact measurements this time because I did all that before I even decided that this was going to become a video. But I basically took out a bit from the underbust, the waist, and the hip in order to make sure this fit really close to my skin. Another contouring line will be the side seam line over here. I took out about a 1/2 inch, maybe even more down the line. And now you can divide your center front and your side front panels, but don't forget to do the line in the middle that connects the apex just so that you know where your pattern is supposed to match up. Make sure you remove your side contouring as well. I should have marked the apex point earlier, but this is just an example and it's just for you to get the gist of what's going on here. Now for the neckline. Match up this area right here, make your center front line as low as you'd like, and be sure to make your line perpendicular to the center front line so you don't end up with a random peak in the center whenever it's cut on the fold. I wanted the majority of my center front to be straight, so I extended the line in and I curved it just up at the end. I created a 1/4 inch tip here for my spaghetti strap and curved it back down. You can make this curve as high or as low as you want. I made mine high enough to cover my bra underneath. Before you cut it out, make sure you measure your strap length and make note of it. Now to start on the back. Cut out the side seam contour, again about a 1/2 inch. Match up the length of your side seams. For the sake of an example, I'm going to keep the back hemline straight, but this may differ from person to person. My center back is very short, so my line curved up from here. Another contour line you'll have to do is the back princess seam. Draw the top edge, then you cut out your pieces, and you're done. All right, bonus. So as you make your toile, you may or may not see fit issues that you'll have to adjust, and I had plenty of them. Some examples of the changes that I had to make on mine were the contours right here. The center front bust gaping. I took out so much more armhole gaping than I was expecting in order for this to work. I kept having to take out more and I was just in shock. I couldn't believe that I needed more. Another one that surprised me was just how much I had to cut from the curve of my bust. Each fitting, I took out a little more from each area I felt needed it. So make your toile and see what fit adjustments you need to make. So now on to cutting my pieces. Next time I make a straight edge top, I'm going to make a full pattern piece rather than cut on the fold because I feel like it's still curved at the center slightly, but you can't really tell too much. I'm just a perfectionist. This top was actually inspired by this Reformation top that is currently sold out. I love that it's very fitted. The satin fabric makes it easy to feel dressy, while the tank top design makes it possible to dress it down too, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. The original design actually had a partially sheared back, but that was part of the reason I had to make so many toiles, so I gave up and made it non-stretch all around. It's still surprisingly very comfortable to wear though. With so many curves in the pattern, it wasn't really possible to match up the design at the seams anyways, but I did try and keep it somewhat cohesive across the back. I cut out my bias straps and laid out all my pieces, and now it's time to sew. I would have used red thread, but none of the thread was going to show except for the understitching on the lining, and that wasn't red anyways. I like to start with assembling the easiest seams first, then working with the center front. Even though this fabric has a satin sheen on top, it actually didn't shift so much when I put it right sides together, so I didn't use pins. But if you're just starting out, I'd recommend using pins, at least on your main points. The more you do this, the more you'll understand your fabrics and when you can actually go without them. I had tried some clips in the center front panels and ended up taking them off because they were just hindering me. I've learned that it's easier to work around the curves if you sew with the least curvy part on the bottom and the side panels on top. That way you can stop and readjust your curvy panel whenever necessary. I took my 1-inch bias strips, folded them in half, and sewed right in the middle and cut off the seam allowance. And to these inside out. After you've assembled your patterns, it's time to press the seams. I used a cloth and a tailor's ham because the seams aren't perfectly straight. And okay, so what you're seeing here is not actually a sewing tool. It's a heavy stone lid that I've had forever. I've been hearing other sewists using a clapper, which is a wooden block used to set the seam and absorb the steam. Before I go out buying random sewing tools though, I just wanted to try using something heavy, and it actually worked really well for me. So as inconvenient as the size is, I'm sticking to this for now. The hardest part of ironing is getting the curves right, but I managed and got a lot done in one night. We're on day 2 of this project, and here's what we got done last night. Bring her on over here. She doesn't actually fit this mannequin, but as you can see, all the panels have been placed together. Today I'm going to be working on the liner, and I have this leftover, I think it's like satin, from Joann's, and as you can see, it's literally in pieces because it's from an old project. I have another little scrap over there. I have already tested if the pieces are gonna fit, and they're not gonna fit on the grain line, but they are gonna fit if I just, you know, do a little Tetris play right there. I did want to stabilize the liner for 2 reasons. I do want to give this shirt a little bit more structure, but also if you've ever worked with this fabric, you know that like the second that you cut it, it just starts warping. So in order to combat that, this time around what I'm going to do is I'm going to stabilize it before I cut the pattern pieces out. This is the type of stuff that has made me cry before. So I'm going to stabilize this before I cut the pattern pieces out. So we'll get working on that today, and hopefully I will have this done like by this afternoon. I did a rough cut of each piece for me to fuse onto the fabric I'd be working with. I did end up having to trim some down a bit more for them to fit better onto the scraps. And for this part right here, I thought the center front would fit as one whole panel, but it ended up having to split it into 2 and add seam allowance to the center front seam. Not a big deal though, since it's only going to be seen from the inside. And here's the part where you watch random sewing videos to learn from the mistakes of others. I'm still not sure what exactly happened because there were just multiple variables, but my fabric ended up with bubble wrinkles that could not be ironed out. I even asked on the sewing Facebook group, and many recommended not using fusible interfacing with satin because it's such a lightweight fabric. Others said that my heat was too high, but that's what the instructions on the interfacing said to do, so... Others mentioned to press the interfacing and not to move the iron, which I did a little bit of both at the beginning. When I wasn't doing that, it did help a little bit, but it still ended up wrinkling or just looking weird on some parts. But I guess next time I'll just use the sewing interfacing, but I haven't had the best luck with sewing 2 slippery fabrics together, which is why I usually default to hand basting my pieces together. Normally I would like that, but it is really tedious. Another issue I had was the water stains all over, but I decided to make my peace with that, honestly. I have no idea how to fix it, and the bubbles on the fusing was driving me insane enough. I finished cutting out all my pieces and got to assembling. This time I was more confident after having done this 1,000 times. I just sewed from the fronts to the back. I clipped and ironed my seam allowances the same way I did for my main fabric. When you go to put the liner and main fabric together with the right sides facing each other, you'll want to match up the vertical seams, and this is definitely one of those moments where you want to use lots of pins. I made sure to understitch my seam allowance to my liner as far as I could, clip my corners and curves, and trim the seam allowance to reduce the bulk. Now that everything's right side out, it's time to iron it and relearn how to make a zipper shorter again because I haven't done this in years. Okay. I think we got it. I think we're good here. I haven't put a zipper in, and the straps are actually kind of feeling a little loose, but I don't know if it's because it's just not
properly on, obviously. So before I finish closing it up, I will check that out. But look at this. Look at this. I love it. I think I actually kind of like it with these shorts. Who knows? But like I said, I do have to go check out if I can find like a gold zipper. That would be great. A gold zipper would be nice. I don't care for silver, and I can't really see right now. So this is as much as I can hold on to. Here, let me put this in here. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so this strap is feeling a little bit loose, but like if I have to fix that, that's gonna be really hard, just because I already trimmed off the edges there. So maybe I might just survive with that. I did end up going to get a gold zipper, and as it turns out, in order to shorten the zippers, you just have to yank these teeth out. Normally for the stopper, you'd use one from a zipper repair kit, but I couldn't find any in stores, and I was actually able to yank these off as well. The hard part was opening it a bit for it to be able to clamp back onto the zipper. Now, using a zipper foot, I attached one side of the zipper to the right sides together with the main fabric. I did the same thing for the other side of the zipper. I flipped the liner right side facing the zipper to sandwich it between the liner and the main fabric. After you do both sides, the top is ready to close off. I sewed along the hemline while everything was inside out, leaving a few inches open so that I'm able to flip it right side out again. I made sure to get the hemline ironed down all nice so that I'm able to see the crisp edge when I close it by hand using a ladder stitch. Alright, so that's it. She's here, she's ready to be worn, and I absolutely love it. I'm always asked how I do these things, so here it is. There you have it. I have no proper training when it comes to sewing. I've been doing this for 6 years now, and I truly believe that it's an easy skill to learn with patience and persistence. Like, if you really want to learn, you're gonna learn. I don't know about you, but I love watching random sewing videos to either get inspiration or just to get me hyped up for my next project, whether I be watching a video of something that I'm making or not. I love the videos that have a lot of talking in it, and I love talking, especially when it comes to sewing things. So if you like this kind of content, then go ahead and follow along the journey, because I am hoping to make some more for my upcoming projects. I think next on the list is a tweed skirt for myself, or dresses for my daughters to wear for Thanksgiving. So that's it for now. I will see you guys in the next video, and here is the final creation.